All right, I'd like to thank everybody coming to the April 23rd, 2013 meeting tonight. So at this time at about 7:02, Kevin, could you please?
Mr. Dickerson.
Roll
Here.
call.
Ms. Gerber.
Here.
Mr. Campbell.
Here.
Ms. Krafka.
Here.
Mr. Thacker.
Here.
Ms. Elliott.
Here.
All present.
All right, we can stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone for coming. Before we get started, I would like to give a big thank you for all those people that participated in our Oddfellows Veterans Memorial. So for that, I would like to say thank you for helping on our new exciting adventure, the Oddfellows Cemetery Veterans Memorial Project in Progress. Those who helped on Phase 1 and who I'd like to personally thank are the village employees and council members, Julie Wortman, Chuck Kilgore, David Friend, and council members Derek Campbell and Susan Elliott. I'd also, all those who are helping making this a reality by donations to our project are Grandma's Pizza, Gordon Food Service, Coca-Cola, Kroger's, Little Caesars, Walmart, Dunkin' Donuts, H&M Surveying, Western Hills University High School, Mr. David Ubel and the Clermont County Commissioners, and let's not forget Harold Markell and Anita Brockman, and over 100 Home Depot volunteers who call themselves Team Depot to make this a reality. So with that, I would like to thank everyone, and a special thank you to Home Depot. Continuing on, we have the approval of the previous meeting minutes of April 9th. Has everybody got a copy of that? If so, and there's no changes, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I have a motion. I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Abstain.
Passes 5-0, one abstention.
We also have a copy of the April 18th, 2013 special meeting minutes. Does everybody have that?
Yeah. No. Okay.
And if there's no questions, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes.
Excuse me before you
With-
proceed, there's a typo.
But
on
the typo changed to the 18th.
What?
Duly noted.
I'll second it.
All right. Kevin, roll call.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Abstain.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 5-0, one abstention.
I do not have a pen. You got a pen? I can mark. Thank you. Next, we have the approval of the bills. Everybody have a copy of those? Anyone not have a copy? Any questions?
I would like to point out that the National Guard did not accept payment for reviewing the howitzer to go into Vietnam, or the Veterans Memorial, which is why that check is voided, and end up saving the village that money. And so I think that's a very nice gesture on the part of the Guard.
It was an $800 check, so.
Nice.
So So if there's no other questions, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we pay the bills.
I have a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. Next order of business, legislation. Amelia Village, Ohio ordinance number 0-2013-16. An ordinance amending 02012-50 and 02013-07 to amend section 602 vacation section 604 personal days and section 612 overtime and compensatory time of the personnel policy manual and declaring an emergency. This time, does anyone have any questions? If not, I would need a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 3 separate dates.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker. Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion for the approval of the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
Next piece of legislation is Amelia Village, Ohio ordinance O-2013-17, an ordinance approving vacation accrual for police officer Raymond G. Mars and declaring an emergency. And what this will do is it will move up any new hires, will start accruing from day one. Any discussion? Hearing none, I need a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 3 separate dates.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
At this time I need a motion for to adoption of emergency clause.
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
Next piece of legislation is Village of Amelia, Ohio ordinance number, it would be O-2013-18. An ordinance authorizing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into an agreement to purchase computer equipment, installation services, and monthly monitoring services through Wessinger Consulting, Inc., and declaring an emergency. Do you have any questions over this ordinance?
On the last page there for his labor and all that, I'm guessing it's the 198, that's a monthly charge?
Correct. This monthly charge here, he charges us by the month, so if you decide there's some services you really don't want, you can take those off at any time, and then he readjusts that. So he does that by month by month. So that's the monitoring, the backup system, putting it off-site in case we have a computer crash. He does a 15-minute snapshot. So every 15 minutes, all our data's getting a picture taken of it. So if our system ever crashes, we will only lose 15 minutes of that. So that's what that is.
Did we, now, when this all got said and done, did we get any other quotes on this, or this is the only one we got?
We do government pricing, so when I talked to a couple other individuals, they told me the pricing, other than the labor, the pricing will not change, because government pricing is government pricing. So it's the cheapest you can get. So nobody else can sell you a Dell for any other price. It is what it is. The only fluctuation you have is how much you pay him to install all the systems. It's quite extensive what he has to do.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they bill for monthly maintenance. Now that's, no, that $200, if we have a virus or something else in Jersey Goods, that can be covered, we're gonna pay extra for that. How many hours is that? Basically $200 a month by us. Did you say that?
As far as,
Because the backup systems are automated.
We discussed this all at the last meeting.
yeah, I don't know, Chuck. I'm not a computer wizard. I'll be the first one to tell you.
Okay, that's
And
fine.
we've been going on and on about this for almost a year. And I have had some information that other individuals gave me, and, you know, the best bang for the buck right now would be him.
That's fine.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
Just wanted to benefit the council that the computer I use is owned technically by the state of Ohio. So any work he needs to do on that, he'll have to get approval from the state auditor.
I hate to tell you, Kevin, we left you out.
Story of my life.
Because we knew that, so we didn't even want to get into that conversation. So we have several new computers, but you were not on the list. Any other questions? At this time, I entertain a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 3 separate dates.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time, I need a motion for the adoption of the ordinance. So move.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Excuse me, who seconded it?
Susan?
Thank you. Mr.
I
Campbell.
probably should clarify that, so.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson. Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time, I need a motion for the adoption of the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson. Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Krafka.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yeah.
Passes 6-0.
Thank you. I have worked very hard on that, and it's been very time-consuming with this computer thing. The next ordinance, I'm going to have Julia come to the podium to explain this before we get into it, so you can understand what's going on.
If it's understandable by anyone. When you get services for workers' comp, there's 2 different services that you get. There's an MCO, and that's the person who's processing the claim and who you get a group rate for. There's a third-party, what do I want to call them? Administrator, TPA. This ordinance would change our TPA from Shakely to who we currently use to comp management. They have offered us a prorated rate through August 31st of this year for $25. With this, they review our claims, give us advice on processing and things like that. We don't get our workers' comp rate from them, it's just an advisory service for us. We currently use Shapely. Village administration thought it would be best to go with comp management for both of these services. So that's what this ordinance does.
We currently use comp management for one of them, the comp
For the
management
MCO
actually
board.
does both. They're already gonna do the one, plus, I believe there was about a $900 savings, is that correct? By switching everything to comp management. Does anybody have any other questions on that?
$25 per month prorated. It's through August 31st, and then we'll have a renewal year, and we'll get another renewal price. So don't know what that'll be exactly.
Any other questions? Okay. Amelia Village, Ohio ordinance number O-2013-19, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into an agreement with Comp Management, Inc. to administer, process, and analyze workers' compensation claims submitted against the village and declaring an emergency. At this time, I need a motion to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 3 different dates.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Ms. Dickerson. Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Crafton.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Crafton.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion for the approval of the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell.
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson.
Yay.
Ms. Elliott.
Yay.
Ms. Gerber.
Yay.
Ms. Crafton.
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
Our last piece of legislation. Amelia Village, Ohio ordinance O-2013-20, an ordinance authorizing and directing the mayor and fiscal officer to enter into an agreement with Express Services, Inc. for the provision of temporary staffing services and declaring an emergency. Is there any questions about this one? We had talked about this earlier, and they shot us a contract, and it wasn't agreeable to us. So they came back with a new contract that would be agreeable to us to be able to hire temporaries how we would need them, if we would need them at all. So this just gives us the opportunity to use them. You don't have to use them, but you could.
Did we get talk to any other agencies, or this is the only one we talked to?
It's the only one I talked to.
Do we need temps for something right now?
You never know when you might need a temp. We're kind of short-handed right at the moment.
Yeah, that's what I was figuring.
Are these temps for just office duties or anything?
They have temps for everything, anywhere from office duty to cutting grass to about anything you can think of. You call them, you tell them what kind of person you're looking for, and then they do all the interviews, liability, insurance, and all is on them. Then they send the individual here.
I thought we used one.
This is only written for general laborers.
Okay, well, then this is only for general laborers.
I felt like we used one a while ago, maybe beginning of last year.
What we did is we hired temporary help. And what happens when we hire temporary help, we work them through the summer, we lay them off in the winter, then we pay them unemployment all winter long. So they love it.
Okay.
This would not do that.
Okay.
You only pay them when you use them.
And there's no kind of penalty, like if we get them and we don't like, whatever reason we don't like them, we can get rid of them.
You can
Send them right back.
Send them
Well, I meant
back,
like,
whatever.
actually the temp agency too, because you said the first one we got from them wasn't too agreeable.
Who's that?
It was just
Well,
the
it was-
indemnity
it was-
clause and.
Oh.
The,
it was a
the
different-
language of the contract I didn't like.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, I need a motion to suspend the rules on 3 readings on 3 separate dates.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson,
Yay.
Ms. Elliott,
Yay.
Ms. Gerber,
Yay.
Ms. Kravka,
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
So moved.
I have a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson,
Yay.
Ms. Elliott,
Yay.
Ms. Gerber,
Yay.
Ms. Kravka,
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
This time I need a motion for the adoption of the emergency clause.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Kevin, roll call, please.
Mr. Campbell,
Yay.
Mr. Dickerson,
Yay.
Ms. Elliott,
Yay.
Ms. Gerber,
Yay.
Ms. Kravka,
Yay.
Mr. Thacker.
Yay.
Passes 6-0.
All right. We'll go ahead and go with the fire chief first. I threw you a loop, didn't I? I thought I woke you up.
Interrupted that game of Angry Birds.
All right, each of you got a copy of the monthly report. Fairly busy month, and 39 EMS incidents, 4 fire incidents in the village. 24 of those during the day, 15 at night. Nothing too drastic last month. We were here for the Easter egg hunt, which was good. And besides that, everything's pretty status quo in Union Township, so that's a good thing. Any questions, comments for me?
Are we up to speed on the Kroger project?
Yes. Right now, we just did some hydrostatic testing with them last week on the fire main, fire lines. They're moving quick.
Okay.
They are on the roll. So yes, we've been involved in all the steps of that project with the building department as far as inspections, and we continue to be throughout.
All righty, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
David.
Council, Mayor. There's some events I want to tell you about, I want to share with you. We've been having some trouble from our unlocked vehicles again up there on Deer Creek. They're pilfering money, whatever money change they can find, it could be anywhere from $1 to $3. They're getting in only cars that are unlocked. I think I've talked about this a few times in front of the public, to lock up your cars. Make sure your garages doors are shut, because there's wonder, especially when it gets warm weather out there, walking around late at night. And we have stopped a few of those guys. Their pattern mostly was on Sunday night, Monday morning, and we didn't have anything this Sunday night, Monday morning. So maybe a couple of those guys we did stop were the ones. Who knows? A suspicious male subject had lunch at Dollar General, and we found all his wrappers and his pop in the aisles, so he had lunch there and left. They didn't find that debris until later, so he wasn't on the cameras either, so I'm guessing where to eat. Traffic stop for speeding made by a couple of our officers, Officer Merle and Officer new hired part-time officer Barkley, stopped a vehicle for 45 and 25. The occupants acted like they were trying to hide something. They were very suspicious. They were asked about that, and the owner of the vehicle consented to a search, and inside was found a pill bottle containing 2 different types of medication with nobody's name on the outside of the pill bottle. So the pills were sent to the lab today to be tested, and I suspect drug charges will be filed subsequently. Female overdose. We had another overdose on Chapel. It was a non-breather. She was revived by that drug Narcan, which, if you remember, it's a reverse effect drug that works on people that basically, I guess, have stopped breathing, died, whatever. Hopefully there's somebody there, and in her case, there was somebody that called a squad to administer that drug. She was taken to the hospital. Officer Marsh was waiting there for her because he found with her 2 bindles, what they call, of heroin, which is little baggies of heroin. So as soon as she was released from the hospital, then she was transported to the Claremont County Jail for charges. That drug has also been sent to the lab. There was a squad run of, we had another non-breather in Hunter's Court, but this, we don't know. I think this was mostly natural causes. She had on her leg one of those security devices that we transported that with her to the coroners, but we also secured that $3,000 unit that's placed in the house to monitor, to send the signal to that. So she was on probation, so the police department took that for safekeeping, so we can return that to the probation department, which was probation she was happened to be in. There was a squad run, a heart attack up on Eagles Court, and newly hired Officer Matulowicz and Officer Wood responded and performed CPR, and the lady is living today because of that. And that was last Sunday morning at about 3 in the morning. So that's when you say to yourself, get to a squad run as fast as you can, because you just never know. It didn't come in as a non-breather, it came in as somebody just having difficulty breathing. Well, by the time they got there, she wasn't breathing at all. So that was excellent job by those 2. Officer Matulowicz is taking over, administratively speaking, Officer Matulowicz is taking over Officer Marsh's mayor's court duties. We like to see a part-time officer in that role because basically we don't have to pay him overtime to do that, and they kind of like to do that. It's a learning experience. In this case, Officer Matulowicz was very eager to do it. He suggested a lot of things already, and one of them was security one. And I talked to the mayor about that, and we ordered one today, and it's en route already by UPS. And that's when the general public is checked for metal, by that metal detector, I guess, is the way you should put that. And you just never can be too careful nowadays. So,
Are you all familiar with what that is? It's a wand. That way, when they come in,
yeah, it's really non-invasive. He doesn't really touch the people. He just kind of waves it up and down there.
you just don't know.
Yeah.
Things are going on.
Just don't know. Recently, we've had a lot of transports to Claremont Mercy from our officers. They're depending a little bit too much, Light Point is, on making our police department a taxi cab service, because a lot of times those people that want to go are actually from other communities that just happen to have an appointment at Light Point. They're signed in patients, they're not causing any problem, they just need a ride. Well, it takes us an hour and a half to pick them up, mess around there at Light Point, transport them to Claremont Mercy, have the officers come back here, much less gas money and all that stuff. So they're going to, I had to talk with the supervisor, and they're going to arrange for their own transportation. The only ones we're going to help with are the ones who are causing a problem with the people who are scared to transport them, who are resisting a little bit. And these are from people that want to either end their lives or hurt somebody else. So we assist them, we'll still assist them with that. The DEA drug take-back program is April 27th, this Saturday, from 10 to 2. Guess it's already on the board out there. So bring in your old medications. We have a deposit box. Officer Olson will be here, he's in charge of that this year, and he'll be here with another person and a table all set up with any kind of literature that anybody would want on that. I also talked to and asked the mayor about, it's been, well, we all know that traffic's a problem through here. With this many cars going through town, there's no doubt in my mind there's a bunch of speeders. Getting out there to get them is a different story without trying to cause an accident yourself, and that's a challenge too. But we had talked, they used to have this program called the STEP program, and that was a paid program, and it was that officer dedicated to just a traffic officer only. He was paid through that fund, and what he did was he was to write 1 ticket an hour or 2 warnings an hour, and that's what his goal was. And that was very successful here. Officer Wood mentioned that to me, and I ran by the mayor, and maybe if the council would see fit to seed a few $1,000s for just this purpose, I'm sure your return will be fourfold of that. Each ticket's going to be like $100 and some. The traffic will get, eventually slow up, hopefully, and the officers will make some extra money. It is since that requirement is there, it's not like they're going to come in and kind of goof off for 4 hours and then go home. So they sign up in the different time slots, and they are dedicated just for that traffic. The only time they would back up an officer is if it would be something like an armed robbery or something really hostile. And then after they get that cell, they go right back out to the room. I don't know how you feel about that, but I'd like to recommend that program, or own program, be installed here because I think it's needed. Councilman Dickerson made a few really good points that we need to do something out there. So let's get that done.
I talked with David on that program. I think it's a win-win program. Like he said, we have one officer out now, and when they get all these calls, they have to go all these different places. It's hard for them to be able to concentrate on that traffic. This person will be dedicated strictly to traffic. So we had talked about a couple different suggestions as far as, what we would do is we would take some funds out of our general fund and move it to the police department. David will monitor that money, that those people will be paid hourly out of that money until that money's up, and then we'll see where we stand from there and see how it works. I think it's a great program. Don't know how council feels. They'd like to maybe think about moving forward, or
I think it's a great idea.
I do too.
Are we not?
Hmm?
I was just saying, I thought there were grants and stuff, not anymore.
Not
They went
anymore.
away.
Dried up.
Yep. Pretty much, the federal money's getting thinner and thinner and thinner, so.
Of course, all that money that you would give us would go right back into general fund, of course, through mayor's court, fines and costs and all that stuff. And we'll try it out for a few months and see what happens. But I doubt if you would be disappointed.
I say we move forward with it.
That a motion?
I make motion.
My second.
A motion, I have a second. Any other discussion on that? And Chief, I will get back with you on that. Council feel comfortable, $3,000, $5,000 range, somewhere in that to start with? Okay.
I did have one more question. What
Sure.
happens if they don't write a ticket an hour or whatever?
Then if they don't write a ticket an hour, I guess I would feel that they weren't doing the job and they're not going to be any more time slots.
I mean, this would be a well-monitored, well-watched program, so.
It was a recognized program that was very successful back in the day when there was funds available. It was across this whole, not this state, this whole nation. So it was a program that's proven to be successful, not that I'm just throwing it out there to see what happens. I truly believe that it will be successful.
And it's not a program to pick on people either. I mean, we're not out there to, we don't want to get a reputation of a speed trap. That's not what it's for. I'm getting complaints. I know council members are getting complaints about the speeding on 125 and the neighborhoods. And, you know, I think that's what we're trying to do. Just, you know, these 50-mile-an-hour people going through town in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, it's just,
I think it'd be a better turnout because you've got an officer dedicated to specifically doing speed instead of going on a call and say, oh, well, I have a few minutes, let me go up there and try to get a speeder. If you've got someone sitting there dedicated, they're gonna have more time to catch. I don't think it's gonna be a failure at all. As many people that speed, I guarantee that you could probably get more than one ticket an hour if they really, you know.
but again, we're
On
not,
any given
that's
day.
not the
No,
purpose of it. The
but the
purpose
thing
of it
is
is
to get
to
people to
slow
slow
these
down.
people that
You know,
come
get out
to the
there and
village.
say, there's a cop,
So
you're done.
once the word gets out, you know, if you're coming through here, you have to
Yeah.
obey the law.
And I didn't mean that in any way. What I'm just saying, though, is that if they could do more than that because there are a lot of speeders. But just have that one person dedicated to that's slowing people down, I think it's going to be a lot
I
better.
think the presence will make a difference.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
just-
yeah.
And I'm not
Yeah.
opposed to putting
Some more
anybody out
dedication.
there to watch it. I don't like requiring them to write a ticket an hour. In the beginning, they're not gonna have any problems meeting that, and I see that. But what happens when everyone gets the message and slows down?
Well, then we tweak the program.
It changes.
When it works, we pull them off. I mean, the whole goal is to slow people down. That's the goal. Make it safe going through the village.
There's
Period.
approximately 40,000 vehicles that come through the village daily.
Yeah.
Over 1 million a month. Keep that in mind.
So we just need to make sure that they slow down, be safe. It's all about safety.
And I guarantee the officers wouldn't just stop somebody just for that reason to give them a ticket. They would, it would be very justifiable to stop at something.
You know, another thing, when you look at statistics now with 1 million cars going through the Amelia Village every month, how many drug people are going through there? A lot. That's another thing I have a real pet peeve is heroin is horrible. It's an epidemic proportion, and if we can do absolutely anything to stop it, we need to stop it.
And for what I hear when you talk about speeding, Chief, a lot of times when he brings it up in the meetings, it's usually someone going 20 miles an hour over. That's not necessary in such a small area. It's just too risky. So,
So it's all about safety and cleaning up
Yeah.
the streets and getting our drugs off. So I think it's a great idea. So
yep.
everybody wants to move forward with it. We have a motion, and we have a second. Yes, sir.
Could you flesh out the motion, please, as far as the amount?
Start at 3,000.
We can do that.
We need to second line again, or not?
We have a second.
I second it again, just in case. Can't be
Do
too
you have the rest
sure.
of it, Kevin?
Yep.
Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Dickerson?
Yay.
Ms. Gerber?
Yay.
Mr. Campbell?
Yeah.
Ms. Crafton?
Yay.
Mr. Thacker?
No.
Ms. Elliott?
Yay.
Passes 5-4, 1 against.
Okay, I do have an announcement as far as the, I went to the Amelia Business Association meeting, and they're having a golf outing again this year. They still need teams and whole sponsors and things like that. It's May 18th at 1 p.m. There's some flyers hung up in our little lobby here. And also, if somebody would like to email me at my address, email address through our website, I'll be glad to email them a flyer if they want.
What time's it at and where?
It's at May 18th at 1 p.m. and it's at Lindale Golf Course.
Do we have any golfers up here? We do?
Of course, like last year,
Okay, let's clarify that, because I want anybody,
Putt doesn't.
no, I got golf clubs and shoes and a nice outfit that doesn't really mean
You'll
I'm
look-
a golfer.
you'll look good.
I look good, but that's about it. I'm good for about 9 holes, and you pay too much to get that irritated. Just putting it out there. Not to offend any of you golfers, but just saying.
all these funds then are donated to either Grace or Mercy Outreach Center or the University of Claremont, UC Scholarship Fund for business people. lastly, I would like to recognize that Tip City is in mourning. I guess I am too. It's with a heavy heart that I announced that my chief had succumbed to a courageous battle with cancer this afternoon. Chief Thomas Davison, he had 22 years as a chief, which is amazing, let alone a total of 42 years in law enforcement. He was always an uplifting type of guy, no matter what. No matter if he was even wearing his little chemotherapy bag, he'd talk to you like there was no problem whatsoever. He made it into that police department as long as he could, even having a cane or a walker, until he finally couldn't make it through the door anymore. Then he announced his retirement as of April 30th. April 30th, we were going to have a ceremony. We all chipped in, we bought this great big plaque. And on the plaque it said, "Thank you for your 22 years of service." And even the city is going to rename that building the Davidson Building. The officers that served under him loved him. The city manager, council, and the mayor loved him. They trusted him to make the right decisions and run the police department to the best of his ability. His shoes are going to be difficult to fill, if not impossible. The community that he served loved him. He was my chief. He was my mentor.
Well, David, from this council and Amelia Village residents, our prayers and thoughts definitely go out with him and everyone in Tip City.
I got to finish. But most of all, not only was he my friend, other than my own father, he was my hero. To the Tip City Police Department, I'm sorry for the loss of your leader. He will be truly missed by all who knew him. Thanks.
Thank you, David. Recreation?
No meeting. Oh, well, I guess we have, in June, coming up.
June 1st.
Thank you. The, family
Fun walk.
fun walk at
Shank.
Spencer Shank.
Family Fun One.
Family Fun 1.
And we really look forward for everybody and anybody to come out for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And registration is at,
7:30 a.m.
Start walking at 8.
start walking at 8. All right, Miss Danny, zoning report. Then we will.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Well, you have my report in writing. We've had, most of the permits that I've been issuing are for fences and decks. We've had about, I think, 2 new constructions this past month. And actually, my cases, I checked today, and one case that was out has closed, so I've had 9 violation letters out, and all 9 have closed. Working on the property maintenance code, rental property registration forms, and getting those together probably within the next couple. Have it ready by next month, hopefully. Have a meeting tomorrow with East Fork Watershed Committee down in Anderson Township. So I will be representing the village with that. I don't know if the mayor's still interested in going to that tomorrow between 2 and 4. And I do have a meeting on Thursday afternoon with Select Strategies to get a Kroger update, so I can sort of find out what's actually happening, where they are, what their future plans are. And I'm also working on articles for a village newsletter, so got some things going, so hopefully we have that out. I'd like to really have that out by middle of May at the very latest. So hopefully that, because I know as a resident myself, I liked having that and sort of kept people updated as to what was happening. But we haven't done that for a while, so we're gonna get that, I think, implemented back into practice.
I think the price came to, what was it? It came to, it was either 400 or 600.
Yeah, it was very cheap.
It was very cheap. nothing near what we used to, so.
All right. You have some photographs in front of you of some potholes. One is on Oriole, and I sort of wrote down at the very bottom which are which photos. One's on Oriole, the other two are on Sparrow. And we've had some proposals from Jim Nichols and Son Blacktopping.
Let me say, these pictures don't really show justice until you
No.
go out there and look at them. They're huge, and the blacktop rolls up about a foot, where it's rolled up.
Yeah, next time I think if I do this, when I take those pictures, we'll put something there so you can see the depth or something. We sort of did that on the fly and didn't think through the process, unfortunately. I'm sorry about that. But they are pretty, very deep, especially when on Oriole. Sparrow is sort of dispersed, but it's, you know, but they are pretty big. We had a proposal for the Oriole and the one in Sparrow cul-de-sac was $3,975. And we had him come back out, I guess, today and look at the other spot at 2 Sparrow. And that's $2,950, which is a total of $6,925.
So I didn't know how
Total?
council felt on,
Oh, Jim Nichols, it's
he's the one we used for Church Street.
Nickell.
Do we not think that this is the one on Oriole is possibly a bigger problem than just filling it in?
Well, let's
You
see.
see what I'm,
He's gonna dig that out, and he's actually gonna dig out where that hole is and compact it. We think it's poor compaction, and
Okay.
and it's, if you look, if you go out there and see how it goes, it's where whenever they did this, due to poor compaction, the weight of the garbage truck, when it turned that, and that's what I've been told, the turning of that big truck pushed that blacktop right up. So when we do repair this, then we will need to notify Rumpke to not, you know, that's just what they think did it. They have no idea. They're thinking compaction in that truck.
Are we going to check with the county, since we are able to add additional road surfaces to that project before we release that to Nichols?
We could, do you have any idea when they're gonna even do their project?
I'll call him tomorrow and go from there.
If you can call him and get a price back, if you think he'll give you a price on doing this.
Well, he'll have to come out and look at it like he did to drive the streets to get the measurement, but, so.
See what you can do with that, because I know this is their busy season. I mean, he's not looking at doing this anyway till mid-May,
Yeah.
so.
Then we have that other road that's
Correct.
not here. Actually,
But these are some issues here
Mhm.
concerning residents. So I'm comfortable with that. If you want to, council feels that's fine, have him come out here and take a look at it and give us a price.
So I'll call Alex tomorrow and see if he's able. If he's not able, then we'll go to Nichols and go from there. So,
Everybody sound good with that?
Yep.
All right.
I just want to say personally, I heard from a family member how wonderful the Easter egg hunt went. I did not even tell them about it. They just happened to come. And it was a wonderful, wonderful time. My grandson had a wonderful time.
Great.
So I just want to let you know that. I also want to thank the council members personally for going out and getting the signatures for the surveys. I know that was a lot of hard work, but we got it done, and it's at county, and I really feel that, you know, it's not an easy task to go there and talk about salary, or, you know, incomes and things like that, but, you know, it's good for 5 years. So, and I don't know if the CBG will last that long, so, you know, it was very interesting. And I think we did come up with a low to moderate income, enough of those, so I think we're good. Okay? And one thing that the chief was talking about, and I'd sort of like to bring up before council, is putting a, I hate to use the word panic button, but a buzzer of some kind. Julie's here by herself sometimes in the back, and if somebody comes back there, we don't know that they're back there, or Linda's up here, or I'm up here by myself, and if somebody comes in that's got some issues, we would like to have something where we could buzz somebody from the back to come forward, or for us to come back with some help. So I'd like to have council think about how we can make that happen fairly quick.
I know Home Depot sells a doorknob buzzer, and it's done, it's remote, you can plug it in wireless. Would probably be a quick and inexpensive way. You could plug it in right there. You could put the monitors, one back here and one with Julie. So if you push that button, both these monitors will go off. So it's pretty easy to do and pretty simple.
Yeah.
If council wants me to look into that. I don't think they're very expensive, a couple $100.
Yeah, it's just because,
I don't even think they're that much.
They might not be, but always.
yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it's
Think
just
more
something
and
that
less.
we just sort of need to think about, because if you are up here, you do get some people that are not happy with their, fast driver awards or whatever they're getting.
Kind of like David said, we're looking at the one now. You never know. We don't want to be a statistic. We don't want to be on TV and say, what should we have done? We want to try to be proactive.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Is there anything else? Okay. Thank you.
Public input. Do we have any public input tonight? Yes. I forgot, Julie. My bad.
That's all right. I'm used to it.
I didn't have you on my agenda.
This past Saturday, we had our annual Claremont County Clean and Green, and we had 33 volunteers. We gathered 52 bags of trash and various other items. So I'd like to thank Mayor Hart and Vice Mayor Campbell, Council Members Dickerson and Susan Elliott and Kay Krafka, a few members of residents of the village, and a Girl Scout group and a Boy Scout group and some high school students. We had a good turnout. I think it was the best turnout we've had in a long time. So thank you, everybody, for your participation.
Thank you for doing it.
Maybe 6 years of doing it.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Public input.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, Council.
Harry?
My name's Harry Booz. I live right up here on East Main Street. I was at the meeting Thursday night, the special meeting. Heard a few things, like to come up, and I know the public wasn't allowed to talk that night. So I kind of held on to everything till tonight. I've been a firefighter paramedic majority of all my life. Started at the age of 15. I'm 40-something now. And Chris, don't get me wrong on this. I know the GPS has been tabled / put on the back burner for now. I've been on both sides of the GPS. I've been in a squad. I've been in a fire truck with GPS. I've also been a dispatcher where I would sit and watch the GPS. I'm currently working for a company right now up here in Whitensville that deals with their certain employees going out in vehicles with GPS in them. Personally, myself, I think that would be a waste of money if you guys do decide to go on with this, because the GPS is not always perfect. I just left a company of 5 years, private ambulance service up in Woodlawn, that started out with a GPS. And I was a dispatcher, I was a dispatch supervisor. And we proved to the company owner that this GPS system is not 100%. Perfect example, I had a crew run what we call Code 3 to a nursing home out in Fairfield for an ill patient in a nursing home. I was sitting there within 10 minutes of them being on scene. I saw their unit tracker moving. going down Route 4 and coming up 275, and they had not marked with me that they were en route to a hospital. So I kept calling them on the radio. They weren't answering. Finally, I called them, and the one medic that was there, he had answered the phone. I said, "Did you guys forget to tell me you were en route?" He says, "No, we're not en route. We're still here working on the patient." I said, "Then you guys need to go out and check your truck, because it is currently going down 275. And he called me right back and he says, "No," he said, "our truck's still sitting out here running." I can see good and I can see the bad side, because it's the GPS is not 100% perfect. So like I said, I've been on both sides. It is kind of a big brother watching you type of thing. In some cases it is good, but some cases, like when it's not perfect. The company I'm working for right now, I've been there 7 months, and they're having issues with their GPS system. Same thing. You call this courier, "Hey, where are you at?" "Oh, I'm over here." "Well, your GPS says you were over here." "No, I was there 45 minutes to an hour ago." It has issues updating, and it does give sort of a false area.
Do you know who they use?
Our company, the company that I'm working for right now, I'm not ashamed to admit, I tell anybody, I work for a company called MedLab. Their GPS systems are built into their Verizon phones. That's how we talk to everybody. And they're supposed to keep the phone in the car at all times. That's what they do. And you can sit right there and we can pull them right up and you can see it. It just tells you exactly where they're at. If they're in a nursing facility, if they're in a doctor's office, it'll tell you the name of that facility. But personally, myself, I mean, if you guys want to try it. But personally, myself, I think it's a waste of time, waste of money. Actually, I'm sorry, not a waste of time, but a waste of money. Like I said, I've been on both sides of it, and I've seen it. Second thing, I think it's a great idea for speed. Bringing another officer in just to strictly sit and watch for speeders. So we live up here right on the main drag. Many night I've sat out there. Me and my wife sat out there. "Hey, he's not going 25. They're not going 25. But the officers can't be everywhere. Chief here sits out has sat at the end of my driveway many days. Right? That's his fishing hole right there. I've had other officers sit out there at the end of my driveway because that's perfect. It sits right in the middle of the 25-mile-an-hour zone. And I see them take right off and pull them over. But when you're out on a call, when you're out, out on a run, emergency run with UT or something like that, you can't be everywhere at once. I think that'd be a perfect idea to get an officer just to strictly, bless you, strictly just be for the speeders. Because, when they leave this light here at Klein, or they leave the light down here that takes you back into Quail Creek, you can hear them coming. You can hear them coming. I think that'd be a perfect idea. One more thing, Mr. Campbell, you were talking earlier, you asked Chief Jackson about Kroger's. I think the village should know this. I found out last night from a Kroger employee, this Kroger's is going to be the largest Kroger's built in the state of Ohio. And I think that's really cool that the village of Amelia has the largest Kroger's in the state of Ohio.
I do think they have one coming bigger.
Yeah, they do.
They do.
Yeah.
Hopefully
We'll be it for a little while. We'll take that for a little while.
Okay, we'll claim for today.
Yeah, like I said, we were up at the Amelia Kroger's last night. We were talking. I was talking to a couple of girls in Delhi. I said, "You guys?" "Oh yeah, we're going to be up there." And then she said, "Did you know that this is going to be the largest Kroger's in the state of Ohio?" I said, "No." She said, "Yeah." She said, "It will be the largest Kroger's." So.
But I think we can claim that we're the most populous village in Ohio. So we can claim that.
Okay, that's all. Thank you all. Appreciate you listening.
Thanks, sir. Any other public input? If not, I would like to go off our agenda just for a moment.
Do you want to do council input first and then we can just end the meeting? Or do you
Well,
wanna do
no.
that? I mean, it's totally up to you. You're the mayor, I'm just saying.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
We had an employee that's been with us for several years who is now going to enjoy life. He's going to be greatly missed. And I would like to have Mr. Ricky Rowland come up here, please.
I'm doing fine.
Good. This is to Ricky Rowland for dedication and service to Amelia Village from July 2005 to April 2013. Thank you very much,
Thank you.
Ricky. Uh-oh, she wants a picture.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ricky.
If you bear with us a few more minutes, Ricky, we got some goodies in the back. Council input. Do we have any council input?
I got a couple things, I guess. First, Ricky, I just want to let you know that you have fought hard and long for that Veterans Memorial. And if it's the last thing I do, I will make sure that that gets done. And you will be here to, okay? I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because without you fighting all these years, you know, trying to get us to realize it was a good thing to do, I think now it's going to be something spectacular, and you're the reason why it's happening. So I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The second thing I got is, and I don't know if we go through Chief, I don't know who we go through, but when was the last time that ODOT did any kind of surveying on our lights?
It's an ongoing process pretty much as far as timing lights. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the amount of cars that go through. I think, you know.
2010 was our last count, I believe. I'm not sure if Kroger's did one.
Well, I meant at the one on Oak and 125. That one, I think, needs to be done the worst. Because if you go out Huntsman, that one's timed pretty well. I mean, if you pull up, it lets you go. But I think if, with the traffic from the school that was done in 2010, we still had buses. We don't have buses, if my math is correct. And I think that it would benefit us, because everybody on 125 has got new lights but us.
Oh, you're talking about actually putting the new lights up?
Putting a new light, getting a turn lane, I think that would alleviate the run into the lights. I mean, because that's our big problem. We only have, you know, those two lights basically in the village, you know, unless you include the new Kroger one, and it changes at a whim. I mean, you hit that pad and the light changes. But I think that would help with the traffic that sits there in the morning and at school. And if, you know, if we have to do some kind of widening to get a little turn lane, but there's so many people that turn left from Oak to 125, and the same way coming off of Chapel, turning left. So if we could get, you know, some kind of count to where, you know, even like I have said, if we put a light on one side that's got green and arrows where one side can go, then we have 3 lights and it's green on the other side and those can go, I think it'll help with traffic. I think, you know.
I know I have called, we were using Wagner Smith, I'm not sure who we've got now, about that. These lights are owned by us, so you can absolutely change the lights, but but what I'll do is then I'll get you a price. I think you're gonna be
Klein,
amazed at what
Well,
that light costs.
yeah.
Klein was $100,000 several years ago in order to do that, was kind of the cost. We got
So-
it about 4 years ago, so gives you an idea anyway.
Well, then if we can change the timing, or,
Right.
something
When they-
has to be done.
When they actually did the Kroger light, everything has to be timed down the road. So everything has to be adjusted. Problem is you have a large impact of cars at 7 o'clock, and by 8 o'clock it's gone. So for them to try to,
Well, is that-
to do the fluctuation. I agree with the arrow, and actually we do have them looking at that for a price to make an arrow to come out. That would alleviate some, because there is 2 lanes there. You could do an arrow in the left lane. You absolutely could. And I will bring that information back to you on that.
Okay. Yeah, because I think that'll help a lot. I mean, because I use that every morning and every afternoon, as do a lot of
Well, I
people
think
coming out
it's a
of it.
good suggestion, and I definitely will.
Okay.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I just want to pay a compliment to Officer Marsh. Over the weekend, I saw him at Spencer Shank speaking to some teenagers, younger children there in the park. I think that's great that he got out there and talking to the kids. So.
Any other council input? If not, our next council meeting will be Tuesday, May 14th, 2013 at 7 p.m. And before we do adjourn, I would like to say one more giant kudos to Home Depot for all their support and everything they are doing for our veterans. So thank you, Home Depot. And with that, I entertain a motion.
Make a motion, we adjourn.
We have a motion, do we have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you very much.